3 steps before you invest $1,000 into the stock market. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome. If you're new here, I'm Austin. I'm a co-owner of cloudmusicsuite.com, and on this channel, we talk all things money and personal development. So if that sounds up your alley, go ahead and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. 3 things you need to do before you invest $1,000 in the stock market. Before I say the first one, yes, you should have already made your first investment in the stock market. In my opinion, the best time to start is right now. And I don't care if it's $10, $15, $50, $100, doesn't matter. Open a brokerage account, go watch one of my other videos, find out what you need to open a brokerage account, put some money in there, and make your first investment. I know that you probably know nothing, and that's okay. You will learn over time. Most important time and best time to make mistakes is right now. Anyway, before you get to that $1,000 mark in your brokerage account, in your stock account, 3 steps in order I think these should go. Number 1, track every single dollar, every single penny that comes in, meaning income, and track every single penny and every single dollar that goes out. So examples of income sources that you should definitely track, that you should write down, maybe even make a spreadsheet in like a Google Sheet or Excel. Income from your regular job that gets direct deposited into your bank account. Any side income you make. Maybe you do Instacart, or maybe you're an Uber driver, or maybe you make some kind of money online with a blog that you have or something like that. Any money, any income you make whatsoever at all, dividends from your stock account, no matter how small they are, interest income from your bank account if you're with a good bank, you name it, okay? Any income you make, that is in the positive, okay? That's your inflow. And then any single dollar that you spend, no matter what it's for, that's your outflow, okay? Maybe you have a student loan payment that you have to make payments on. That's part of outflow. Maybe you have rent or a mortgage. That's part of your outflow. Don't do any craziness with the mortgage and try to deduct a certain, no. The amount of money that goes out every month, that's your outflow. Groceries, putting gas in your car, any maintenance you need to do in your car, stuff around the house, random clothes you buy. Track every single thing. This is going to do a lot of things for you, but at least 3 things for you. Number 1, it's probably going to make you want to make more money, because when you see exactly how much you're making, the total of it, to myself, I think I could bump that up $200. I could bump that up $300. I could bump that up $1,000. I could bump that up $2,000. So it's going to motivate you to make a little more money. Number 2, it's going to motivate you to spend less money. Because if all you have left at the end of the month is $50, holy cow, you're spending almost every single dollar you make. That's not an ideal way to get to a place of financial security. I'm not even talking about getting rich. I'm just talking about financial security, okay? And it's definitely not going to put you in an advantaged position to invest in stocks if that's what you want to do, right? So you need money left over at the end of the month. And then that's the 3rd thing it's going to do. It's going to show you exactly how much you have to invest. Once you finish these 3 steps, it's going to show you how much you could really funnel in there. If you wanted to put all your excess money, all your savings into your stock accounts, you could do that, okay? And you would know that exact number if you're tracking your inflow, income, and outflow, which is the amount of money you spend that goes out of your bank account. So that's number 1, track every penny. Most people are not going to do it, but those who do will see great benefit in those 3 ways. You're going to be motivated to make more, you're going to be motivated to spend less, and you're going to know exactly how much you can invest. You're not going to overextend, and you're not going to undershoot either, because you know exactly how much you can spend, and the numbers don't lie, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, thing that you should do, I've got it written down here, fully establish your emergency fund. So number 2 is establish your emergency fund. This is, in my opinion, should be a separate bank account from your checking, and it should be a separate bank account from your personal savings. It's your emergency fund. I even hold mine with a separate institution from what I pay other bills with. I try to keep it as isolated as possible. So with an emergency fund, you should be going for about 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up that is untouchable unless there's an emergency, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is have to dig into your stock account whenever an emergency arises, just to pay for a flat tire, or to pay for a root canal, or to pay for an ER visit because something went horribly wrong. You don't want to have to pull into your stock account for that. You want to have an emergency fund set aside so that you don't ever have to touch your stock accounts until you're made a lot of money, and you don't have to dig out, you don't have to sell at a loss if you for some reason are down for a certain period of time, and you don't have to sell prematurely for a gain. All right, so having an emergency fund is number 2 step, because you need the number 1 step, tracking your inflow and your outflow, so that you can see how much you're spending. And then you take that number, how much you're spending, times 3 or times 4, times 5, times 6, whatever you choose. Let's say you do 6 months and you spend $2,000 every single month. You need an emergency fund of $12,000. That should be your goal. So get that emergency fund established. I know that sounds like a lot of money maybe, but it's so worth it for the peace of mind. Whenever I don't have a fully established emergency fund, I'm definitely baseline more stressed. Just constantly slightly more stressed. Not crazy, but just a little bit. When I've got that emergency fund, I'm a lot more relaxed in general. So try it out, do it for me. You won't be sorry that you have extra money on the sideline. I can promise that. Number 3, if you haven't already, get your first credit card, okay? Get your first credit card. Here's the reason. If you have no credit history whatsoever, you might have to get a secured card at first. And with a secured card, you have to put money down, and the money you put down becomes your credit line. So let's say you've never gotten a credit card before, you tried to apply for one, but they said, no, we're not going to give you a credit card because you don't have enough credit history. That's very frustrating, because it's like, well, yeah, of course I don't have any credit history. I've never had a credit card. I'm applying for my first one right now. They don't care. You got to play the game. Whatever. It's a stupid financial game, but you gotta play it. So get yourself a secured card, and with a secured card, you put a security deposit. You put, let's say, $500 down, and with that $500, the bank holds that $500, and then you're basically borrowing whenever you spend on your credit card against that $500 every single time. So your available credit is what you gave them. Let's say you spent $100 on groceries. Now your available credit until you pay it off is $400. But really you're just paying it back to that $500 that you gave them in the first place. After a certain amount of months that you prove that you're a worthy borrower, as they say. I think you're worthy. But you have to prove to the credit card company that you're worthy. And after that period of time, maybe it's 6 months or 8 months or sometimes 10 to 12 months, they'll send you the money back. They might send you a paper check in the mail, or they'll direct deposit it to a linked bank account. But they'll send that money back, and now you have graduated to an unsecured card. So that would be the reason why I think go ahead and get that credit card, get the credit score rolling, get your credit history rolling now, because you don't want to have to wait. You don't want to have to not invest the amount of money you were going to invest 1 month because, oh, well, now I have to get a secured card. I didn't know that. Now you had this goal of $500 a month in the stock market, but now I want to put $500 this month into the credit card, and now your goals are kind of messed up. So it can just keep you in line, making sure you're staying consistent and steady, and you don't want some little random bump in the road, like getting a credit card, which is very necessary in my opinion, to derail your stock portfolio for 1 month. Hope that makes sense. So to run it back, 3 things in backwards order: get a credit card, because it might have to be a secured card. Establish your emergency fund. That was number 2, so that you don't have to dig into your investments and so that you have peace of mind. That's 3 to 6 months expenses. And then number 1, track every cent you make and track every cent you spend every single month, so that you know what's left over, because what's left over is what you have to work with in terms of investing, okay, and saving and putting money down on a house and all the things you want to do with real life. So that's all I got for today. Hope you enjoyed the 3 steps that you should do before investing your first $1,000 in the stock market. Click the like, sub, and drop a comment. Let me know which one of these was life-changing for you, or if none of them were life-changing for you. Thank you. Have an amazing day.